Afternoon Talk on SAFM.
Right, so the second half of the Afternoon Talk show, and as you know, it's all about putting somebody in the spotlight. So I did say earlier on, we're speaking to certainly one of the foremost actors, I think, in the country, and it was done just about everything. You have done just about everything, haven't you?
Ah, thanks, Ashraf. You're too kind.
We are talking to Tumisho, masha, by the way. No, you have. I mean, as I talk to you, I'm sure people listening saying, yeah, okay, it's true, this guy's done. How much have you done? I mean, okay, give me a one, a 10-line CV. Quick
10-line CV. Well, I mean, I'll break it down into the different genres. I've done drama, I've done comedy, I've done theatre, I've done film, international South African film, I've done television soapy, I've done drama series, I've done a bit of radio, I've directed a music video.
Mention names.
I've written scripts, that sort of thing. I mentioned names, the people I've worked with.
No, names of the like top
famous,
billing. I know, right?
Yeah, top billing. I've presented, yes.
Mr. Dingo as well. What else? The Wild is now.
The Wild is right now. Okay. That's what's happening right now. Every day, 7 p.m. On Mnet. But right. I've done Isidingo. I've done top billing. I did Gazlam, which is a great program. I've done international movies like Beyond Borders, Catch a Fire. I recently did Kidnap and Ransom on British TV. Silent Witness as well on BBC.
Can you believe it? I mean, seriously. When you look at yourself in the mirror,
wow.
Because we all have dreams, and not every one of us achieves it for whatever reason that may be. I mean, when you reflect on your life, even now, is it like a life fulfilled here in terms of career?
Definitely. I mean, I feel very blessed. I must say I'm very grateful because I think that I've had great opportunities. All I had to do was just step into them and just do my best. So it wasn't for anything I'd say that I particularly did, except, I got some great opportunities, starting out at drama school at Wits University and taking it from there. And, sometimes I look back and think, wow, I've really done all this amazing stuff that I wanted to do as a child, going, I really want to be an actor. I really want to be an actor in school, and getting to high school and saying, I really want to be an actor, and everyone going, yeah, all right, whatever. And having done it and then go and looking back and saying, what an incredible journey, because before I went to drama school at Wits, it wasn't easy to say to my parents, I'm not going to take the family route of going to university and studying something like accounting or law or becoming a doctor like my mother. I'm actually going to do this crazy art thing, because I either wanted to be an artist, a musician, or
they were
an actor.
Offended. They were very upset.
They were very offended because they were like, we sacrificed and put you, because at the time there was no Model C school. So you either went through Bantu education, which was an unfortunate option,
and you went to the best schools and you said, I want to become an actor, and they said, goodness, you could have done that for nothing.
Yeah.
I'm sure they said that.
Actually, funny enough, it was as a result of those very schools that I actually, the bug hit me. But I suppose, even from a very early age, when I was still at creche, I remember being at primary school at Lisolang Primary in Garankua Zone 2. And we used to have, at the end of the year, they used to, the older kids would create a wedding, and I was in I think grade 1, and I played the groom that year and the year after that. So 2 years in a row, I played the groom, and basically you walk around with another little one around the school and you wear your best suit. That was when I thought, I want to do this all the time. Just I want to play other people.
And that's exactly what happened. I'll tell you what, if you want to call in and say hi to Tumisho Masha, man who's done it all, and I'm saying he's done it all, well, besides taking your calls, he'll do that now. If you do that, 0891 104207, 0891 104207. Please save that number, it's important. SMS is 34701. That's going to cost you R2, 34701. You can also tweet me, Ashraf Garda 1, and you can comment via Facebook. I'll pick up some of those comments in just a second. So, when now your family, what do they say?
They're very excited and very happy for me. I think the one thing about them was whatever I decide to do, just do the best at it. Just be the best. Just do it well. Which I think was really a philosophy that my father had. So once he realized that, because I had opportunities to work at different, between high school and getting to Wits University, I did my A-levels in the UK, and I studied law, and I studied economics, and I studied law. And accounting. And then I came back and I had a stint at IBM for 6 months, and they offered me a job if I went and studied marketing. And they said, if you went and studied marketing, you can always come back and we'll pay for your bursary to study marketing, and you can come back and you'll have a job marketing at IBM. And I was like, no, actually.
I don't want to.
Thank you. Can you give me a bursary rather to study drama? And
okay,
reluctantly
don't answer that question. I want to find out why did they do that? Because we'll talk about that and lots more as we put Tumisho Masha in the spotlight. This is SAFM, South Africa's news and information leader.
Afternoon Talk on SAFM.
And by the way, the guy that I chatted to earlier on in Tutuko Shezi, who's quite an entrepreneur with his mobile, sort of scratch mobile, fixing up your cars while you're on a flight to wherever. Well, you can contact them. That is the contact number 083-SCRATCH, 083-SCRATCH, and the website scratchmobile.co.za. There's also one for Levenger's. That's the clinic, the dry cleaners, in fact, levengers.co.za as well. All of that being done at the airport. Quite an entrepreneur indeed. Right, let's to Mr. Masha with me. I'm going to get to the calls in a second. So then you said, I don't want to get into your marketing department. I want a scholarship or something, or a bursary for.
Give me a scholarship to go and act.
Now, what is that going to do with IBM?
I have no idea. They said, yeah, okay, well, let's check this out. So, I guess I've got to give them kudos for that and really say, I owe a lot of where I am today thanks to IBM. So I guess they've got that marketing back. Here I am on SAFM saying that it's because of a company like that I'm here right now.
How do you repay them? Are you driving a BM at least to say, well, at least I drive a BM?
Well, it's not BM, it's IBM,
well, no,
the computer company.
I'm aware of that. I thought maybe that's the best way, because you're not in computers, are you?
No, but I do use laptops and stuff like that. I just wish they had a phone. Then I would actually have an IBM phone.
Then you could repay them.
But I used to use a lot of their software, and I've owned an IBM laptop before. So, there you go.
When did you... So you got into studying, and I'm going to sort of jump through all of that, but when did you realize you've made it?
Well, I guess I feel like I've made it right now. I'm on SAFM. This is a very serious radio station. I've always thought you have to be somebody to be here. So I feel like, I've made it now. But I guess...
So just pause. I mean, I don't have to say anything, some drum roll there. So Tumisho's finally made it. Finally got into SAFM. Finally. Okay. Yeah. Good stuff. But seriously, there must have been a moment.
I guess, I felt it this year for the first time where I was like, I finally made it. I won my SAFTA, which is the first time I've actually won an award for acting.
Okay.
I won Best Actor in a Soapy for this year at the SAFTAs. So it was a really good feeling after 15 years.
Which Soapy was that?
For the Being on the Wild.
On the Wild, okay.
Yeah, Being on the Wild. So after 15 years of being in the industry, finally being recognized was like... Thank you so much.
Now, isn't it interesting? I mean, you see, some may say the fact that I've been in various soapies, and then you rattle off all those names earlier on, from Issy Dingo, and the fact that you've acted and rather been a presenter on a show like Top Billing and all that. That alone, the fact that you got the job should be that you've made it. And you're almost saying you've made it by getting an award. So how important is the award, which comes like 15 years later?
It's really important.
So if you didn't get the award, you'd probably tell me now you still haven't made it.
I'll still be trying to make it. I guess the award is just your peers recognizing that your work is of a recognizable standard. So having that, because that is chosen by judges. It wasn't even a public vote. It was people in the industry who looked at the tapes, and it's an interesting thing, the process of the SAFTAs. They just are sent DVDs basically of the entire show, and they from there pick. The show itself is not even allowed to nominate.
Okay, so unlike many other awards.
Many other awards. So they just go through the DVD and they go, oh, we'd like to nominate that person, that person, that person for Best Actor, Best Actress, and so on and so forth. And then from there, they go through another judging process, and that's how you're chosen to be Best Actor or Best Actress. So that was really a good feeling to really be...
And why do you think you won this one? What did you do?
Well, I think, the timing was just right. I was part of a television show that's just come out. It's brand new. Technically, production quality-wise, it's just at a level that I think South Africa's never seen before. And I'm very fortunate that I'm acting alongside some of the greats at the moment on our screens. We've got a fantastic crew, fantastic set of writers. Everything is just amazing. It all came together at the right time. I'm at a place in my life where I think I've made peace with the fact that this is really, what I really, really, really with all my heart want to do. Even though I always knew that this is what I want to do, and just every day going to work and just being self-motivated and doing my best.
Okay, but now you certainly know what you've done. Let's just talk about top billing. It's very topical now because of this presenter search. So I sort of watched it last night, and they had this top 10 now. I mean, I don't think did they have a presenter search in your time?
There was no presenter search in my time. In my time, you had to go through it the old-fashioned way. You had to be called for an audition. In fact, you didn't even get it wasn't a sort of audition where you had to be invited basically to come and audition. So I was invited to come and audition after my 4-year stint on Isidingo. And it happened just as I'd left Isidingo. I had felt that I wanted to be on the show for the first time for no longer than 3 years. So I was there, and I felt that if I was to come back, I would come back, but I didn't want to be on a soapy for more than that. I was still quite young. And I was invited to come and audition. Clearly, I did very well in the audition, and we just took it from there. So there was no presenter search at all. This came about quite recently, actually.
And what's it like to... Because in fact, even the presenters search, they still win an audition, ultimately. In reality, it's an audition that we all are. They're exposed, we all can see it anyway. Well, what's it like sort of cracking the nod of a show like that, as opposed to a soapy? And what difference does that make for you?
Well, I mean, it's obviously a very different thing because it's unscripted, a lot of it. Unless you're doing links, you are on your own, and you have to come up with stuff, and you have to work within a framework that Top Billing has. So it is a very different kind of format to work on. Top Billing has its own nuances and that sort of thing. And it really just does something different. Being a presenter and being an actor, I think the way the audience perceives you is very different. So once I was on Top Billing, I think the audience perception just kind of changed. It's funny. I feel like sometimes you're taken far more seriously in this country as a presenter on a show like Top Billing than you would be as an actor on a show like
hold that thought, because I want to pick up on that there. Tumisho Masha with me. So there are changes. That's why I don't want to become an actor. I can't crack it no matter what. Presenter, yes. Actor, no. We'll find out more as we put Tumisho Masha continuing to do so in the spotlight. I'll also read some of your Facebook comments and SMSs and tweets, and I'll hopefully take your calls as well. 0891 104 207.
Afternoon Talk on SAFM.
Okay, Tumisho Masha with me, the man who says he's finally made it because he's now on SAFM. So is that thanks to him or thanks to me? I don't know. But either way, I'm glad he's finally made it, and we can help you anyway. 0891 104 207 as we put Tumisho Masha in the spotlight. So, okay, you made the point that people treat you very differently as the presenter and as this character that they see every single day as opposed to a once-a-week presenter. How different, and how did you respond to it?
Well, I found that, being on a show like Top Billing, you are sort of seen as, a very classy and I don't know, very well-to-do suddenly,
Okay, he's rich.
You're allowed into certain places that you wouldn't have been allowed to before, which is really wonderful for the presenters, and it just says something about the quality of the show and what it's all about. But, depending on what kind of show you're on, I think sometimes the audience kind of takes your character very seriously. Okay. I still get a lot of people who recognize me, call me Dumisani. To this day, I'm still really, Dumisani. It depends where I go. So a lot of people still recognize me from Isidingo days, and they still ask me where Letty is. Some of the funniest incidents happen, and sometimes they're not so funny when you're having either an anniversary dinner with my wife, Zosie, and we're sitting there and someone says, where's Letty? you know, which I'm sure they think is very hilarious. But yeah, there you have it. You know, I think South African audiences are incredibly friendly. I must say that. I think people are wonderful. They just need to be acknowledged a lot of the time, and that's about it. You know.
Indeed. I want to pick your brain on some other issues like entrepreneurship, but let me get to the callers as well. 0891 104 207. Stephen Durban, you're on the air. Hi.
Hi, Ashraf. Lovely show.
Thank you.
I'm just saying hello to your guest, Tumisho.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
I'm well. I followed you up from Isidingo, and I think you're a great actor. What I want to find out, have you thought of collaborating with the Nollywood industry, you know, the popular industry in Nigeria, where, you know, you have actors that, you know, do movies that are written by writers? Have you thought of that?
Well, at the moment, I really haven't collaborated with any Nollywood film producers or writers at the moment. I think the closest I would have in terms of access to Nollywood producers would be our very own Akin Amotoso, but I think he's more a South African producer now than a Nollywood producer. I guess it's just a matter of, you know, the opportunity being able to come my way. You know, when it comes to our industry, we are quite regulated and we're quite formalized. And at the moment, I think the level of formality that there is and regulation that there is in Nollywood is not quite at the same level that the South African industry is. So you find that it is easier for international productions like your Hollywood productions and your British productions. We have production treaties with Canada, the UK, Italy, and so on and so forth. So it's easier for those guys to come through and for us to be able to work with them, because there are certain things that our government has done with them in terms of tax breaks and just making it easier for them to come through and make films of a quality that I think a lot of South Africans do enjoy, and internationally they can travel.
Okay, no, it's fine, great to know, but keep it up. I think the sky is the limit for you.
Thank you so much, Stephen.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Nice call there, Stephen. Okay, let's get it back. Tebogo was on the line. He's just dropped it. We'll take your call once again if you do so. There's some other comments, Tumisho, that says from Herbie Mon saying, I met him during our first week as the first year students at the Wits Drama School. Now, we walked to the EOH, I think it is, in Parktown, where I was accompanied, and he was still trying to decide whether or not to find accommodation at one of the university residences. You know about all this here?
Yes, I do. Who's that, Herbie?
It's Herbie, yeah.
Okay.
Herbie Monmasco, right? Yeah,
Herbie Monasco. Yeah, that's true.
Okay, he says a lot. I'm not going to read it all. I'd be honored to work with him on one of my projects. He says, in the pipeline.
Okay. Well, you know, from back in the day, Herbie, I'm still available since then, you know.
Okay. Ask him if he ever considers producing stage, film, TV in the future. If not, yet. You will, yeah.
Definitely. It's one of the things that I do at the moment in terms of producing, not quite stage, but definitely television and film. I've got a company called Masha Media and Entertainment, which I run with my brother, Dumetsi Masha. And our thing is just we develop television shows at the moment. We've got an enterprise development show that we developed that we've been in talks with various sponsors to try and get it funded as an AFP, which is an advertiser funded program.
So it hasn't yet gone to air then? No.
It hasn't yet gone to air. It's just, you know, trying to raise the funds. Our model for doing television, we've tried to do it differently. We don't want a television show commissioned by a broadcaster, because we feel that it's time that as producers we owned our own intellectual property. And the only way you can do that in this country at the moment is to have it funded by someone else, because the bank is not going to loan you the money, because in terms of a business model, it's very difficult for us to prove how are we going to be able to give you that money back if it's on television, because of a number of things. So the best way to do it is to have a marketing or corporate come on board and give us a portion of their marketing budget, and we
so
find
like
a way
Big
to
Break Legacy, I mean, for example, which is
like
an
Big Break
entrepreneurship show.
Legacy, which was a competition.
I think the new one, the Coach as well.
Yes,
that's
there's
in
one
the field of
coming out,
entrepreneurship.
the
that
Coach,
just started, SABC3, yeah.
Yeah, ours is called Grow. It's trademarked, it's copywritten. So anyone out there listening, you can give me a call, certainly, or email me at tumishomasha@gmail.com. And it's really about just helping entrepreneurs get on their feet, especially because we've experienced it as entrepreneurs, trying to get on your feet, especially in an environment as production. It can be very difficult because you're constantly trying to tell people something that you can only really show them. And I always say, if you want people to listen, show them first. So that's what we're doing. And a number of other businesses that I'm involved in. I quite enjoy IT. Maybe it's from my IBM.
So that's your
days.
IBM story, yes.
So one of my other businesses is developing apps for smartphones and tablets.
Okay.
So I come up with, I basically come up with the ideas of how to make applications help people in their everyday lives, and my partner basically makes those apps come to life.
Okay, so that's the actual creative. I mean,
Yeah.
yours is the vision, clearly.
Yes, mine is just the vision, and his is to write the code.
Just the vision. Let's get to. We'll talk about that in a second. Wandile from Queenstown. Hi. No, Wandile's gone. Wandile, you still there? No, Wandile's gone. Please call back if you like. I'd love to get your thoughts. Entrepreneurship, how important is that? We chatted about it earlier on before you joined us, right?
Yeah, well, I'm so impressed that you had Tugo here, because over the weekend I was actually at the airport and we were flying to Durban, and one of his guys came up to us.
Oh, is it?
Offered to fix our car, and we said, yeah, please, by all means, fix it. But I think we have to take it back in because they didn't get one of the paints, but the service is absolutely amazing, and I love entrepreneurs who think out of the box like that. So definitely, working with people like that is amazing, and we have to push entrepreneurship in this country, because really that's the only way that we're going to create jobs in the long term. Being a tenderpreneur is not actually being an entrepreneur. The whole system was created so that you could get something from the government and then give other people a chance afterwards. It was a way for us to get kick-started. But I think at the moment the model has been used where people go back again and again and again, and the abuse
and the same people.
And the same people. And I think the abuse comes in when the same people kind of get the deal and then don't do what they're supposed to. That's when we have a problem with service delivery. But I mean, I'm not going to get into all of that. What I'm trying to say is, in terms of entrepreneurship, I think the idea that our government has is very good, because they have this grand vision and this grand idea of how they want to make it happen. But I think as humans, sometimes we are at fault, and we have to really take responsibility as entrepreneurs and say, where have we gone wrong, and where have we abused the system, and where going forward can we really work with the government honestly and with integrity to make their vision actually work, and instead of blaming them for everything.
So convincing. You could become a political analyst when you talk like that. I'll tell you what, I want to ask you, give you a chance to maybe get a specific thing off your chest outside of entrepreneurship, because I'll give you a chance to think about that. Let's get the news headlines now. It's 3:30. Okay, we've made a note, and we certainly will be listening indeed. PM Live from 4 to 6. Okay, Tumisho, Masha with me till about 3:45. So maybe a chance for maybe just two more calls. Wandile, I'll get to your call right away. In fact, Tumisho, let's just get to Wandile's views from Queenstown. Hi, Wandile.
Yeah, well, Ashraf.
Yes, how's it, man?
I'm a huge fan of the show. Therefore, good afternoon, Tumisho.
Good afternoon.
How are you,
Wandi.
sir?
I'm good, and yourself, my brother?
I am very good. Just two questions, brah. Since you're good in acting and in presenting, which one do you prefer? Which one would you do in all your life? And second question would be if you could write a book about yourself, what would you name that book? Thanks.
Oh,
Okay,
thanks,
thank you. He's like the new presenter. You're asking questions that I was going to ask. But anyway, Wandile, appreciate that, helping me out, right? So, answers?
Well, thanks, Wendy. Well, I would say that the one that I don't really have a preference, but I think the one that I really love, I could do on my deathbed, is really acting, waking up every morning and doing what I do as an actor, especially film and television. I really love it so much that even when I'm sick, I still go to work. It's just one of those things where even when I have an off day, sometimes I pitch up just to hang out on set.
Oh, my
I remember when I was still at Wits, there was one time, my first experience on set, they were shooting this television show that Neo Mutsunyani was a star of. And they were on the library lawns, and I saw the set and I was so enthralled, and I just walked there and I spent the entire day just hanging around watching them do what they do. But I just love the whole, the circus of being on a
So
set.
what's the greatest role you've played? I mean, you've played many roles and you've won an award for one, but don't worry about the awards. In your opinion, your finest role?
I'd say without a shadow of a doubt, it would have to be playing Cantemba in Drum.
Okay.
Which was the movie of the drum boys at the time. I mean, the drum
And
men
huge
now.
socio-political significance as well. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
huge social political significance. I think that it had a bit of controversy in terms of some people felt that it was a little bit one-sided in terms of how we portrayed the guys, but we wanted to show them as much as we could in the way that they kind of were at the time, and having fun, and also how they were affected by the political dispensation of the time, and how sad it was that you had these amazingly talented individuals that were never going to be, their talent was never going to be realized, and they could never really be what they would have been had they been alive now. I mean, Ken Temba was one of the greatest writers that we've ever had in this country. And I read his books while I was a youngster. And then this opportunity came to play him. I was such an honor and a privilege, really.
What is the role for you that's so far it's the one that got away? You wanted it, hasn't happened.
I wanted it. I felt that it was Catch a Fire, playing the lead in that movie. I ended up getting a smaller role in that. I mean, I ended up going to LA for the screen test for it. And I remember Philip Noyce, who I've become very good friends with, who was the director of that film, in the end saying to me, you know, I wanted you to be the lead of that movie, but for whatever reason it didn't happen. And I've always felt I wish I had played the lead for that, because I always thought we could have done something else with it. You know, it could have something, but without any sour grapes or hard feelings.
Set the screens alight and catch a fire. Indeed, yeah. Somebody asked a question. I need to pick this up before I forget, because it's an important one. Farnaz tweeting saying, "Ask Tumisho, what's his advice for someone who wants to be a presenter?" So we're talking presenter now as opposed to actor. Advice?
Well, you know, there's such different ways of getting into this whole industry. I mean, you told me earlier about, when we were just talking briefly about how you got into it. So I don't like to prescribe, like, you must do this, you must do that. I found that my way to get into it was to go to drama school, study drama, and get a degree while I was at it, which was, you know, basically a BA degree with honors in drama. It worked for me because I basically learned, you know, all the different things that I needed, which helped me with presenting. You have voice training in there. If you want to go into acting on stage, on film, if you want to go to directing, producing, writing, you've got all of that.
Indeed.
But if you really, your dream is just to go into presenting, I would say there's a lot of courses that are available in and around Johannesburg. There's a course that I did when I joined Mnet for the first time, because I was a continuity presenter on Mnet for a while.
You see, there you are. So much.
And it's a place called On Cue, where you basically learn how to do auto cue presenting.
Yes, I know that's Anna and Company, right?
Yeah,
yes,
and they basically teach you how to present, which I think is a great course. It's very short, and a lot of people who are already, you know, they've got jobs either in the corporate world or anywhere else can do that while they're still working. Because I think, you know, without saying drop everything and start from scratch, do what you can while you can do it. And it's not always possible for people to be able to start again and go to drama school. So go for those sort of courses. And I'm sure there are other places as well.
Of course.
And anyone else who's got a presenting school or anything like that, you know, hit me up on my Twitter handle at Tumisho Masha, or on Facebook, and I'll certainly, you know, pass it out.
Pass it on, indeed. Well, I'll do that as well. Okay, let's, what is the one thing you want to get off your chest?
One thing I want to get off my chest. Oh, you've opened a can of worms, my brother. You know, I think at the moment I'm a little bit militant about what's happening in our society. I think that when I look at the youth and what I think they want and how they think that life is just a matter of, you don't really have to work hard to get things. I think that's really a wrong way to look at things. Everything in life you only get through hard work. A lot of people do ask me, I want to be a presenter, and I always say, so what have you done about it? You know, what personal investment are you willing to put into it? I want to be an actor. It's not about the easy way. Always rather look for the highway, because in everything in life you're going to have to pay your dues. We're seeing a lot of people in our media, in politics and everywhere else, who are getting fired left, right, and center. And a lot of those people are actually going to have to pay their dues now. And it's better to pay your dues in the beginning. If you're a young person out there, I say, you know, don't think that you're going to get anything easily. Just understand that everything comes through hard work. Stay in school, because without education, you have no foundation. So don't be fooled. Don't think that I can, you know, drop out of school and I will one day, I can either become a president or whatever, because that's not likely going to happen for you. And even looking at our president, because some people think, oh, but he didn't finish school. Our president worked very hard to get where he is today.
Yeah, so there was compensation.
There was compensation. There was compensative factor, as you put it, rightly so. That for him, maybe it even took longer, you know, because he didn't go through having an education in that way. So, basically, look around you. A lot of our role models are very wrong. I think we see a lot of people who got it very easily and are living the high life.
Who's the role model for you then?
My father. I was very fortunate that I grew up with a father, and I think a lot of people don't get that opportunity. My father, Rodney, he basically was raised by a single mother because his father passed away when he was very young. And he put himself through school by being a garden boy, basically. And then working in the libraries, and that's how he put himself through varsity. And he put my mother through med school as well. And his whole thing was, you have to just put your nose to the grindstone and work hard. And, you know, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And that has been, I'm the living proof of that. The harder I work, the luckier I get. So I just want to say to all the young people out there who see things on television, you know, there's a lot of reality stars, reality TV stars.
Yes.
And everyone thinks, you know, I can marry right, or I can just get one good deal and open up a nightclub. Honestly, that is 0.001% of every entrepreneur who's
But you
made
see,
it
the
out
fact
there.
that there are people who do that and they get the publicity because they do, right? You know,
yeah.
Is that a problem? Or, because the truth is, that's a reality that's real. You do get someone who's unknown who then goes into whatever. A reality show like The Bachelor, or whatever it's called, or Big Brother, and they're suddenly the most famous person in the country. You know,
I think that it's a symptom of the society that we live in at the moment. I also think that the people who have made it the hard way, we as a society, and especially in the media, need to convince them. I think convincing is the right word, because a lot of them, I mean, I know like someone like Patrice, a lot of the guys that are out there who Tim Tabela, who are very successful, have done very well through sheer hard work and will and determination, are sometimes very reluctant to tell their stories. But I think trying to say to these guys, look, we actually need to get you out there and really show you guys doing what you're doing. And if I've forgotten any of the female entrepreneurs like Wendy Luhabe, who's worked hard, and the others that are not coming to mind right now, who've really worked hard to get there, you know, let us come into your homes, let us get into your boardrooms, into your offices, and create shows that show where you are. Glamorize you, because we need to glamorize hard work.
Glamorize the right people.
Glamorize the right people. That, you know, you've got it the right way. You are still, you've got integrity in your businesses. You've got integrity as people. And say to the young people out there, just like a Patrice who struggled for so many years to get where he is. Everyone thinks that he just kind of got it because he kind of had the right political connections. That's not true at all. Someone like Tim Tabela, who is now, you know, running huge mines, and he's a billionaire. He went and he started out as someone who sold insurance door to door, you know, for years and years, and he got his company up to being in the hundreds of millions when he sold his book on. And someone like that would make a brilliant case study. And we've got
about 4 minutes to go. Tumisho Masha still with me in the spotlight. What for you is the one thing about you that's most misunderstood? And I don't mean your character, because I mean that's another person. You know, people do have an opinion of you, and sometimes they get it completely wrong.
Well, I think most people, when I start speaking Sotho, go, "Oh, I didn't know you could speak Vernac." I'm completely misunderstood in that way, and I think sometimes I don't know, maybe it's the way I come across or something. I grew up in Pretoria, so you know the way we speak is I don't speak Sepedi, I don't speak Sotho, I don't speak any particular language. I speak Sepitori. It's a lot of diamond, and so I tend to just not speak, because it always, I mean, you can't help but go, where are you from? So I think that's one thing that's most misunderstood. And I think people sometimes think that I'm a bit of a snob, but I'm the most approachable person you'll ever come across.
So they can approach you?
Anytime. Come and talk to me. Ask me anything.
How many people approach you downstairs at the foyer of the SABC?
All the time. People approach me.
So today when you came up?
I think about 3 people approached me just to say hello, just to, you know, ask me questions.
How do you feel about that, being talked to, being recognized?
I take it very seriously in that I think that I don't want to be anyone's role model, because I think really you should look to someone closer, like first your folks, because that's a more real role model, your parents, someone you spend more time with. However, I do believe that I have an influence. So the way I come across, and when someone comes to talk to me, it's very important that I treat that person with a certain level of respect, because that could really change someone's perception or change a direction that person was taking for the rest of their lives. So when someone comes to talk to me, I take the fact that I have to talk to that person in a particular way very, very seriously. And I have to be open.
That's the paying customer, isn't it? In many ways.
In many ways, the paying customer, but in many ways, I want to make sure that I leave them with something that is going to inspire them for the rest of their life. That I met this person and something.
So you make that point. They come and say, hi, we like your shows. And you don't just say, hey, that's cool. You give them a message.
I try. I think it's important because, I mean, I grew up around those kind of role models. My father was that kind of person. He still is. He's one of those people. I didn't understand him as a teenager. I was like, shut up, Dad. Because my friends would come around the house and he'd always say, my children, you must be educated, blah, blah, blah. And my friends would always walk away with like, okay, this guy, But that kind of thing always stuck around. Like, okay, he leaves people with something. And all the great people I've ever met. I've met Nelson Mandela, the ex-president, and he left me with something. I've met Thabo Mbeki, and he left me with something. I've met, every great person that I've ever met has left me with something. So I need to leave others with something.
All right. So now we've got about 30 seconds to go.
Yes.
You don't have one person meeting you in the lobby of the SABC. You've got the entire nation listening, and you want to leave them with something. What can you leave them with?
Well, I'd like to leave them with this. I think that we have one of the most amazing countries in the world. I can say that because I've had the wonderful privilege of traveling around the world and seeing other countries. And I think sometimes as South Africans, we take our wonderful nation for granted. I think we really need to get into this idea that we've got to be nation builders, all of us, and we have amazing opportunities. To all the white listeners listening out there, don't ever feel that there is no space for you in this country, because there is. To all the black listeners listening out there, don't ever feel that there is no opportunities for you, because there's certainly a lot of opportunities, more than anywhere else in the world. I think we've got to get to a point now where we get past a lot of what we hear and the noise, that we hear out there, and just start building our nation, black and white people, together, and not worrying about that.
Okay. Is he inspirational or what? Absolutely. Right. Quick one, 10 seconds. A book that you can recommend we read.
A book that I can recommend you read. Oh my gosh, 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Long Walk to Freedom, because that's the first one that came up to mind.
And it's very topical.
And it's very topical. And all the things I'm speaking about are in that book.
Indeed. But if you're stuck, you can still give me another book and I'll announce that at 4 o'clock. How's that? I'll certainly
Fantastic.
do that.
Thank you
Mr.
very
Great chatting to you. Thanks for allowing us to put you in the spotlight.
Thank you very
Indeed.
much. It's an honor to be here and a privilege. Thank you.
And he's finally made it. That's his words, not mine. Time now for Radio VUCA. Now for Radio VUCA. Now for Radio VUCA. Now for Radio VUCA. Now for Radio